right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to DjangoCon. Welcome to my talk. I'm very excited, nervous, but very excited. My name is Keanya Phelps, and I'm here today with my colleague, Tobias McNulty, and we will talk about pair programming after the pandemic and beyond. This is a little bit about myself. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, in the United States. I am a software developer at Cactus, and I love electric music and house music, just in case anybody loves that. I really love it, okay? Okay, all right. And let's let Tobias introduce himself, I'm sorry.
No, you forgot to talk about taking over my...
No, you have to...
Okay. So yeah, I'm Tobias. I've been using Django for almost longer than I can remember at this point. And I'm a member of the Django ops team, and I'm super excited about pair programming and happy to be here with you all this week.
All right, enough about us now. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Okay. All right, by show of hands, do we have any first-time speakers at any conferences? Is this their first conference that they're speaking at? Anybody? May the force be with you. Cool. All right. My initial plan for world domination was to make DjangoCon Europe my first time speaking at any conference. But the universe had other plans for me. My colleague Tobias here was supposed to deliver a talk at DjangoCon 2023 in Durham, but he got sick the week of the conference and was not able to present. And instead, a couple of his colleagues, a couple of us got together, pulled together and delivered the talk for him. So crisis averted, people helping people, and we took care of that. So this isn't my first. It's technically my first, but not really. So that is my spiel on that. Okay, so what is pair programming? Well, the technical definition is that pair programming is an agile software development technique where two or more programmers work together at one workstation. So the driver is actively writing code while the other is navigating, reviewing lines of code for errors and suggesting improvements. They may even be considering the big picture of the code base. During and after the pandemic, remote work exploded on the scene. So not to fret, pairing and collaborating can be just as effective online or remote as it is in person. Here at Cactus, we are doing a little bit of a reimagining or remixing, if you will, the original definition of pair programming. So we are leaning more into and focusing more on the collaboration element of pairing. Not just for computer programming, but all things technical. We found that there can be other types of work that benefit from collaboration and pairing with a partner. One thing that I love is collaborative ticket writing. I don't know about anyone else, but I do love a ticket with clear acceptance criteria, and collaborating, pairing with our team makes for a much more detailed ticket experience, and I know we all love that. Bug fixing extravaganza, that's not a technical term, that's a term I made up myself. It's something that we do at Cactus. This has proven to be really effective for our small team at Cactus. When we're scrambling to deploy after QA has done their due diligence, we have often gotten together with front-end, back-end developers, QA, and we hop on a Google Meet and just power through bug fixes together. And so, because we have tight deadlines to meet. And I love it, it's a sight to see because you have everybody just going at it, you know. I'm not one that works well under pressure, Tobias is, so it's like it's just like a hodgepodge of people doing what they need to do, okay? All right, so bus factor. I heard that the previous talk that the young lady spoke about bus factor. That's weird because this is the first I've been hearing about this bus factor. Pairing also decreases the chance that your project is derailed by bus factor. Full disclosure, I didn't know that bus factor was an actual term. I was familiar with the concept because we all know we can walk outside and get hit by a bus. I mean, but I didn't put the two and two together, didn't know that there was an actual name for it. So if anyone else isn't familiar, bus factor is a term used to describe the number of people who could be run over by a bus before your project would be in danger of a failure or have some type of issue. The smallest possible bus factor would be 1, meaning a single person is indispensable to your project, and that is not what we want. By pairing, critical knowledge is not siloed with individual developers, therefore mitigating the risk associated with anybody leaving the project, and that's what we want. Okay. PR reviews. Sometimes I get a little anxious being a newer developer when someone of Tobias's caliber is looking over my code. However, I love to pair on PR reviews because the real-time feedback has been so instrumental in my growth as a developer. I've been lucky enough to work with developers who are patient and don't really mind explaining or sharing their thought process when making comments on my PR. You know, I do like, I come to a lot of the senior developers like, this is my level 1 code, could you help me get to level 2? And I've been very, very, very pleased with most of the responses. Okay, so, oh, that's my beautiful pit bull, Graham. I love to pair with him. He's 65-pound pitty. Yeah, very, very cool to pair with. And if he could talk, I'm sure he would ask, why are we pair programming and not playing in the doggy pool? Well, here's the reason. Pair programming, improve code quality. 2 heads are better than 1 most of the time. Pairing facilitates continuous code review, reduces bugs, and enhances overall code quality. Knowledge sharing, one of my favorite. Pairing fosters knowledge exchange, allowing team members to learn from each other's expertise and experiences, and enhance collaboration. Working together promotes communication, teamwork, trust, and shared ownership of code, which leads to faster and more effective problem solving. All right, best practices. So you want to establish clear roles. Who will be the driver? Who's navigating the journey? You know, some people like to Stack Overflow an issue better than others, like they can do it quickly or Google quicker, so that person should possibly be the one that is navigating. But make sure you know who's doing what so you don't step on each other's toes. Setting goals. Setting goals and expectations. So define clear objectives for each session to stay focused and productive. Because if you're pairing with someone that you enjoy working with, you're possibly sharing that same curiosity and that same childlike wonder. So this could be a blessing and a curse, because it can become quite easy to go down a rabbit hole, a technology rabbit hole. There's so many libraries, so many frameworks, so little time. So you want to make sure that you stay on task, because if you don't, the pair programming might be fun, but not very productive if you're not really focused on the task at hand. and keeping an open dialogue. So don't be afraid to be vocal, if it's not working. Try to cultivate an environment where constructive feedback is encouraged and valued. Not just any old feedback, constructive, don't tell me, oh, Keanya, black isn't your color, who cares, whatever. I want to know what's wrong with how can I improve my code? Okay. And remember to take breaks. That is important. This work is mentally challenging. I'm not going to appear when I'm hangry, irritable, sleepy. I just can't do that. It's not going to make a good session. I find that when I take care of myself, it makes it easier to take care of others. So make sure that you're ready to do this work. All right. And I bet you're thinking the same thing that the cactus intern Graham here is wondering. How do I get started? Well, let me turn it over to Tobias, and he will talk about how to get started with pair programming.
Cool. Yeah, thanks so much, Keanya. I'd like to kick off with a quote from another one of my favorite people to pair with, my longtime friend and business partner, Colin Copeland. He wrote that, for me, passing the baton is immensely helpful. I might take an idea to a certain point and then run out of steam, and then my partner might see the next step and jump in to find a solution, and it prevents us from getting blocked. Much of the writing on the internet that talks about pair programming describes, two people maybe using the same computer, and when they want to switch roles, they have to pass the keyboard back and forth or try to explain, what is wrong with what's being typed. New tools we found, and we were sort of forced to try them during the pandemic, because we no longer had the opportunity of working together in person. And these tools, which we'll talk about in a second, allow programmers to share a single development environment, either locally or remotely, each from their own workstations. You're probably familiar already with some of these tools. Two of the popular development environments for distributed pair programming are VS Code's LiveShare and PyCharm's Code With Me. Plug for the DSF, if you have not yet seen, PyCharm is on sale right now for 30% off, and all of that revenue goes to the Django Software Foundation, so check it out if you're interested in PyCharm. But both LiveShare and Code With Me include pretty similar features, such as real-time collaborative file editing. So if the driver gets stuck and isn't sure what a particular function or class is called, the observer can jump in and simply type that into their editor instead of having to spell it out on a video call. On the other hand, if the driver is moving very quickly and the observer is more in a capacity of learning about the code base, they can follow the leader, if you will, and see what files they're looking at or editing during the session. Shared terminals are also super powerful. They likewise help if the observer needs to jump in and type out a new command for the person that is driving at that time. When using shared terminals, pro tip, I still really like to keep a markdown document with all the commands that you are typing, and type them there ahead of time. This serves a couple purposes. Number one, it helps everybody in the session understand what's happening, and number two, it can serve as a great log for a README or other documentation if you would like to put that together after writing whatever it is that you're writing at that time, code-wise. VS Code, super cool, also by default will share with everyone in the session any ports that are opened on your, in the terminals in the VS Code session. So other members of that LiveShare can connect to your Django run server, for example, and help to test or debug the application at the same time. And yeah, Keanya already mentioned that a couple times we've had these marathon bug testing sessions at Cactus where we'll have people from development and QA and user experience backgrounds all working together on a single environment. And it sounds chaotic and time intensive, which it is, but it can also be quite productive, and everybody that we've found participated in this really enjoyed it, and would encourage you to give it a try at some point. So yeah, show of hands. How many people are familiar with creating Git commits with multiple authors? A handful. Okay, great. So yeah, this is one of my favorite things about pair programming, and that is keeping a history in the log of the code that was pair programmed. And to do this, you add a code-authored by line to the bottom of the commit message. VS Code at least will automatically do this for any members of the current live share based on their GitHub logins, for example. And I think this is a good thing to do because it both provides attribution for the code to everyone who helped to write it, and then can also be additional context 6 months, 12 months from now if you're trying to figure out some detail about the code that was written at that time. So yeah, for better or worse, I guess no pair programming talk today would be complete without at least a brief mention of Copilot. This is Microsoft's developer-focused AI tool for integrating with VS Code and providing some shortcuts and code suggestions. And it advertises at least that it can help find other parts of the repository that are affected by the changes that you're making. I still default to preferring a human pair programmer when I can find one, but Copilot might be handy for helping with lots of boilerplate code or other repetitive tasks. Keanya mentioned to me that she would recommend Copilot more for mid or lead programmers, less for junior programmers who may not have the context to evaluate the solutions that Copilot proposes. I did test Copilot in preparation for this talk, and I was not very impressed with its code suggestions. It kept telling me that it didn't know anything about the files in my repository, which could have been user error on my part, but I thought that was the whole point, that it had that greater context. So maybe I was doing something wrong and someone has a suggestion. It did tell me how to use the search tool in VS Code to look for what I was looking for, which I found somewhat amusing. One area where I think it did a great job was writing a unit test. You can point it to a function and ask it to write a test for you. And it got a lot of the boilerplate out of the way, and it even came with a decent doc string that helped me get started. And yeah, before closing, we do want to make clear that pair programming is not for everyone, and it's not for every problem. Working closely with somebody can be really awkward. It is totally real and valid to feel hesitant about bringing someone in so close to how you work. For me, for example, I can be embarrassed sometimes by the number of typos that I make with an audience. And when possible, it can help to have a pre-existing level of trust with the person, or to pair with somebody who you already enjoy spending time with. On the other hand, if you haven't worked together with someone before, it can be a great way to hang out and get to know someone in a casual environment while you're trying to solve a problem together. When working remotely, it can be a substitute for the office water cooler talk. But our main advice is just to keep it low stress and casual. Programming can also be, like Keanya was saying, time intensive and exhausting. Focusing together on a single problem for an afternoon can take a lot out of you. Sometimes I might like to organize my thoughts ahead of time before bringing someone else in. Or if I don't have any idea where to get started, maybe I'll brainstorm briefly with someone ahead of time to try to figure out what path to go down. And the key value, we think, is just avoiding time spent going down the wrong path up front. me, myself, I might get super excited about this certain idea and go forward with that for a couple hours, but if I was pairing with Keanya or Colin, perhaps they would see a different aspect to the problem and help guide the project in a different direction. The biggest challenge that I've found with pair programming is just that it's a new thing, and a lot of people have not tried it before and really invested in it. It might take a few tries to find the right fit, but done well, we think that pair programming should feel fun and productive. It can also help foster inclusion on the team by helping to bring new people into the project. If you have tried it before and had a bad experience, we would encourage you, to give it a try with someone else or on a different project or problem. In the end, pair programming should foster this supportive team culture that we're talking about and create an environment where collaboration is valued and mistakes are seen as opportunities for learning and improvement. But before all the managers in the room decide to mandate that everyone pair program for 8 hours a week, and keep in mind that it must feel productive and valuable to the people doing the work. Otherwise, it will be counterproductive. So yeah, ultimately we think, like Keanya was saying, that this mentality can be applied to all types of work. In their article, for example, about writing blog posts together, Jacob and Sumana wrote, find a partner who wants to make progress on something. We think someone you're friendly with similar goals is best. So thanks so much.
Stay connected and keep pairing. We were trying to do something cheesy, but won't let us. Okay. Thank you.